When Ronald Reagan was president of the United States, he said a great many things that were rooted in good biblical wisdom, but among the greatest of those quotes, it was this one. We maintain the peace through our strength. Weakness only invites aggression. And in a few months, we're going to have a choice between a strong leader, one that will not invite aggression, and one that currently can't finish a sentence. But there's something a little bit more dangerous going on with the candidate from the parentheses D. And in today's video, I'm going to show you some information that you won't find anywhere else on YouTube. Some have said, we used to come to this channel and get great information. Today you're going to. Today you're going to. But we have to go down this road first. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. That goes right along with what Ronald Reagan said. Matthew 5 and 9. This is largely associated with the Thin Blue Line movement, the Law and Order Society. One of the things that when you move to Florida, you've got to kind of get used to is that even on a short trip between your house and, say, the grocery store, it is very likely that you're going to see 2 or 3 police vehicles, whether they're county, whether they're city, whatever they are. Other places in the country, it's not like that. Given a choice between living in that society or living in the anarchy that exists in parts of Africa and parts of South America, I choose this. Now, I'd like to relate a story that I think many of you can relate to. I'm sure many are scratching their heads. What does all that have to do with this little white dog? This is one of my daughter's dogs. His name is Snowball. And Snowball is a Bichon Frise. For the most part, he's a very good dog. When he's around me, he's an excellent dog. But when I'm not around or he doesn't think I'm watching, he's a bully. Anybody or any other dog that tries to get near my daughter while he's sitting on her lap gets this snarling, snapping, growling treatment. And as a dad, for the most part, on par, that's a good thing. You know, when I'm not around, I'd love her to have a dog like this. Now, he couldn't do all that much damage, but he could be very annoying. However, when it comes to me, and I walk up, he's learned not to snarl or snap or growl. Because he tried that once, and it was ugly. And he knows his limits. He knows I won't tolerate that. He knows that I have a very strict standard for behavior. Now, she's a lot more lenient. She won't discipline him like I will. But the dog behaves for me and is a perfect little gentleman of a dog. Peace through strength. You have to let the animal know where the limits are, and the animal will appreciate that. You let it just run wild and let it do everything, it'll continue to push limits and continue to push limits, and it'll make your life a living nightmare. There were many things back in 16 I agreed with the current leader on. This was one of them. Peace through strength. Repeal the defense sequester. Rebuild the depleted military. End nation building. Put American safety first. All these things I agreed with him on. I just thought the states were better equipped to do it on their own than have those dictates come down from D.C. So very recently, I have created a brand new mask. And I just put up a post about it. It's here in the Florida Maquis Mask Store, and you can find it here. It simply just says, Peace through Strength, Trump 2020. I've got it on a navy background. You can get it in black, gray, or white. And I have it marked down. It's much less expensive than others. So, these face masks are billboards. They are billboards that are so much better than t-shirts or hats. Because everybody's going to be looking at them. Everybody is going to be looking at them. There were movies that had talked about a future where different companies would pay you to put their products, all over your body, and you would basically be a walking billboard. Well, if you want to be somewhat of a walking billboard for something important, something that could change the face of America, by all means, please, if you have it within your ability to do, get one of these or any of the other 4 or 5 that I have that promote Donald Trump. Now, as far as the information that no one else is going to give you, this is it. I am almost 100% sure that Joe Biden is going to pick a woman named Val Demings as his vice president candidate. She is the only logical choice. Florida is going to be the hinge pin. Whoever wins it is going to win the election. No Republican has ever won a presidential election, without winning Florida in 96 years. And she's frightening. Now, why is she frightening? Let me show you something that no one else is going to show you. This is an article from the AP, and it's largely trying to paint Miss Demings in a more favorable light. But something is said down here that should terrify you. I'm just going to read a small excerpt here, and you tell me what you think. She's also facing scrutiny, particularly over her 4 years as Orlando's police chief. While those credentials could blunt President Donald Trump's argument that a Biden administration would lead to lawlessness, they could also spur unease among progressives who are leery of law enforcement, especially at a time of reckoning over systemic racism and policing. Quote, she's out here touting a national plan, unquote, for criminal justice reform, said Mike Cantone, an Orlando liberal activist who previously supported Demings' bid for Congress. Quote, but she's never once called for that kind of reform right here in our backyard, end quote. Now, here's the terrifying part. That was to answer people who think, no, she's not going to be chosen because she was a cop and the liberals hate cops. No. Listen to what she actually said here. In a recent interview, Demings argued she used the tools available to her to address excessive force and bad actors on the police force. Quote, this is her quote, this is Val Demings speaking. I think people don't really fully understand I think people don't really fully understand sometimes the restraints that law enforcement executives have as it pertains to discipline, she said. She insisted she, quote, found some creative ways to get around those rules and developed her own way to, quote, force officers who I believed should not have been law enforcement officers to resign pending termination. So let me get this straight. There were checks and balances put in place, and there were rules put in place, and there were laws to be abided by to protect police officers from this type of being singled out. She found ways around them. She found ways to get around the system that she was supposed to be upholding. That's literally the definition of criminality. See, when you go out into the world and you encounter laws and restrictions and checks and balances that you don't agree with, if you go try to find a way around them, you're a criminal. But when she does it, it's supposed to be a good thing. You can't have an attitude like this and be a law enforcement officer. More quotes from her. Quote, if you use an I too many times, it's just not who I am. She said, I just tried to do my best to do what was right. I did what I could when I could. Meaning she had a personal agenda in Orlando. That when she became chief, she decided, these cops over here, I don't think they should be cops. So I'm going to break whatever rule I can or bend whatever rule I can to get rid of them and put in cops that more agree with my way of seeing the world. Is this the person you want as vice president? This is why Joe Biden's going to pick her. Because that's exactly what she's going to do. She's going to find ways to bend the Constitution, to get around the Constitution, to create a country that she thinks should be, not what actually is. See, she's what they call a woke cop. She's a pro-criminal cop. Orlando is evidence of that. Her own personal opinion about who should and who should not be a police officer, regardless of their training, regardless of their history, regardless of any rules protecting them, that means nothing to her. It means nothing to her. She'll get rid of them. She did it. She admitted it, that was her goal as the chief of the Orlando police. And that's the attitude she'll bring to the vice presidency. That rules are just something to be bent. Laws and rights are just something to be ignored if you don't personally think they agree with your agenda. She's on record, quoted as having said that's how she behaved as the chief of the police in Orlando, and was proud of it. These kind of women vote. She's willing to do or say anything. Willing to do or say anything to deliver Florida for Joe Biden. Are you? Are you willing to do or say whatever is necessary to deliver Florida and this country for Donald Trump? Are you willing to win? Or do you just want to feel good about winning? We have to win. There's absolutely no choice in this now. And it's only going to happen if people step up and start doing things they're not comfortable with sometimes. I don't like masks. Not a fan of them. Never cared for them. Was forced to wear them. Was forced to wear them for a long time in the jungle to conceal identity. And if you think it's bad walking around at the grocery store for 45 minutes or an hour in air conditioning, try wearing them for 12 or 14 hours a day in a jungle. Trust me, it's night and day. And this serves a purpose. This serves a purpose that could change this country. If Biden and Demings win, there are areas of South America where the authorities, the federal government, the police authorities, don't even pretend to govern. They even tell their own citizens, don't go there. It's run by warlords. Don't go there. We can't help you. And that's true for most of Africa. There's even parts of Mexico that are that way. If you want that for this country, then by all means, let your personal discomfort with masks get in the way of you helping Donald Trump get reelected. But if you want to continue to live in a law and order society where your children and your grandchildren can feel safe, you're going to need to step up and do something that you're probably not going to like. And that's just the reality of it. It's the whole reason I'm doing this. The law and order society was not on the ballot in 2016. We had the luxury then of 4 candidates. We had the luxury of choosing a libertarian or a Green Party or whatever. We don't have that now. We have one choice. We have one choice: peace through strength. Peace through strength. Like, share, subscribe.